Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, Mark and I are diving into something called Deep Packet Inspection, or DPI. It sounds intense, right?
Oh, Jenny, it times intense, in the best way. DPI is like the super sleuth of network security. It's how we can see everything times happening on a network. Not just the addresses, but the actual content of the data packets.
Okay, everything sounds a little scary. Like, is this thing reading my emails?
Well, it times could technically. Which is why there are, a few ethical considerations. We'll get to those. But think about it more like a super-powered security guard. It can tell the difference between someone carrying a harmless package and someone trying to sneak in something dangerous.
Okay, that makes it a little less Big Brother-ish. So, where did this all begin? Is it new?
It's been around for a while, evolving alongside networks themselves. But the asterisk growth lately. Whoa, we're talking about a market that's projected to go from around $9.9 billion in 2023 to over $25 times billion by 2033. That's according to Allied Market Research. Although, and this is interesting, other firms see even bigger times numbers, like $175 billion. It shows you how much disagreement there is.
Wow, that's a pretty wide range. Why such a big difference in the projections?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It probably comes down to what they're counting times DPI. Are they just looking at pure DPI solutions? Or are they including things like firewalls that have DPI asterisk capabilities times built in? It's like, are you counting just apples, or are you counting all fruit?
Okay, the fruit salad versus just apples analogy. I'm with you. So even with the varying numbers, it's clear this market is booming. What's driving that?
Two main things. Cyber threats, they're getting more sophisticated, and we need more sophisticated tools to fight them. And regulations, things like GDPR and HIPAA, they require companies to have really tight control over their data. And DPI helps with that.
Right, because those regulations have serious teeth if you're not compliant.
Exactly. And the fines, don't even get me started, millions. So DPI helps companies prove they're doing everything they can to protect sensitive data.
So who's using this? Is it just, giant tech companies?
Everyone, really. But especially industries that handle a lot of sensitive data. Think banking and finance. BFSI is all over this. Healthcare and telecom, those are the big ones.
Makes sense. Banks protecting our money, hospitals protecting our medical records. But what about the technical side? How does it actually achieve all of this?
So a traditional firewall, it's like a security guard at the front door. It checks your ID, your IP address basically, and decides if you're allowed in. DPI is like that guard. Times plus, they check your bag and your pockets, and they have a metal detector. They're looking at everything times inside the data packet, not just the address label.
So it's going deeper, hence the deep in Deep Packet Inspection. Clever name, I guess.
Exactly. And that deep look lets it catch things that a regular firewall would miss. Like, say, a virus hiding inside an image file. A regular firewall might just see image. But DPI can see the malicious code times the image.
Okay, that's a pretty good example. So it's more than just blocking IP addresses. It's analyzing the asterisk content.
Precisely. And that's becoming even more important now because so much of our internet traffic is encrypted. Traditional security tools can't see inside encrypted traffic, but some DPI solutions can. Carefully, without breaking the encryption.
Carefully? How does times work? It sounds like you're walking a tightrope.
It times tightrope. There are techniques like TLS-SSL inspection, where the DPI system essentially acts as a man in the middle, decrypting the traffic, inspecting it, and then re-encrypting it. But, and this is a big but, you have to do that in a way that complies with privacy regulations.
Ah, there's that ethical consideration again. So we're back to the privacy concerns.
We are. Because think about it. If a company, or worse, a government, is using DPI to inspect all times your traffic, that's a asterisk lot times a power. And power, as they say, corrupts.
So what's being done to make sure DPI isn't misused?
There are technical solutions, like anonymization. That's where the DPI system strips out any personally identifiable information before it analyzes the data. It's like looking at the shape of a package but not the address label.
That sounds like a good compromise. Security without sacrificing all our privacy.
It's a asterisk, step asterisk in the right direction. But it's a constant balancing act. And the technology is always evolving solutions. We're seeing more and more cloud-based DPI solutions, which is great for scalability. But it also raises new questions about data sovereignty. Where is your data being inspected? And who has access to it?
So many layers to this. It's not just about the technology itself, but also where it's deployed and how it's managed and who's controlling it.
And then you add in things like AI and machine learning. Oh man, this is the cool part. AI is being used to make DPI asterisk smarter. Instead of just looking for known threats, it can learn to identify and times threats based on patterns of behavior.
So it's like teaching the security guard to recognize suspicious times behavior asterisk, not just suspicious packages?
Yes, it's like predictive security. And that's becoming incredibly important, especially with the rise of things like 5G. 5G means times way times more data, times way times faster, and DPI has to keep up.
So 5G is actually driving times the need for even more times sophisticated DPI?
It is. Because with all that data flying around, you need a way to manage it, prioritize it, and of course secure it. And that's where DPI comes in.
It's a never-ending arms race, isn't it? As technology advances, so do the threats, and so must the defenses.
It is. And that's what makes it so fascinating and so important. We're talking about protecting not just data, but also critical infrastructure, financial systems, healthcare. It's a big responsibility.
Well said, Mark. And that's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for the insight.